Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI, here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. I'm the coach of PRI, Rick Gailey, along with our Prep Recruiting Insider, your Prep Recruiting Insider, Renee Nato. And we have a great guest with us today, Coach Mark SONGY, the head coach of the Jesuit Blue Jays. Mark, welcome to PRI.
Thanks, Coach. Great to be here today.
We really appreciate the effort that it takes for you to get out here. What a great facility we have here. It's unbelievable.
It's fantastic. It's the first time I've been here. It's something else. Beautiful. I'm going to have to come back and ride some, I know they're not go-karts. I'm going to have to ride some of these fast cars later on.
That's
sure.
right.
I stand to be corrected, Mark. I said undefeated, 6-1. But you guys are playing well. I know.
We'll take the 7-0 if you want to give it.
And we go back a ways. You know, you've played under some outstanding coaches. Bobby Conlon, that you played at, Brother Martin, played under Hank Tierney, coached under Hank.
Yep.
And then you spent some time in LSU.
Yep.
Under Mike Archer, Bill Owens-Bark at the tail end. What of all those coaches, what have you learned a little bit from all those guys, or what kind of common bond did they all have?
Well, you know, they're all good men to begin with. I think they get the big picture about bringing kids up through football. All of those guys, very fundamentally sound in the game, almost from a boring standpoint, if you will. You know, where you're getting the same dose of really good fundamental, almost boring football from these guys. But you know, I learned a lot of great things about not getting away from the fundamentals, about giving great effort, about preparation, especially from Hank. You know, just great preparation leading up to who you're playing, the film time with the kids, the scouting, things like that. So I think all those guys have those qualities in common, really. And
we've talked, Mark, that you came back into coaching after a 10-year sabbatical, I call it. I had a 4-year sabbatical, so I know I know how that works. And the game has changed. While the game has changed some, how we teach the game and what's important in football has not changed over that time.
And that's got to stay the same. I mean, if you're going to be successful, you have to prepare the same way for each opponent. And I think that's one of the keys with our football team right now, is that we're going out really, and if people think this is just coaches talking, it's not. Well, we prepare the same for every team we're playing. We're playing Rummel this week. It's a big game. We really treated Shaw as a big game the week before. We treated Holy Cross the week before that, and we'll treat our next opponent the same way, just with great respect, paying attention to the fundamentals and trying to get our guys into a position where they can do the things they do best.
Why might you be a better coach taking over just 2 months before the season began, Mark? Why might you be a better coach today than you were when you left coaching 10 years ago?
Well, things take a little bit of a different perspective now for me. I'm 10 years older. My kids are a little bit more grown. I've had time to spend as a parent even more. So I think I don't bother with the little things as much. I think I'm understanding about personal situations a little bit more, and I like to give our kids a little bit more room. I'm not as uptight about the little things anymore. You know, being back in this now, I'm really excited. It's something, since the day I left it 10 years ago, I really wanted to get back into it. Used to joke about this, and was talking with Todd a little while ago. Being in the business I was in for 10 years, I didn't work what I would call an honest day, you know, in those 10 years compared to what I do now, which is a lot of fun, and I get a lot out of it. I really do.
Now, you know, getting back into coaching, you got back in at an inopportune time, so to speak. You swapped places, in effect, with our good friend Wade Kaiser, who we've both known a long time. He's now doing the broadcast that you did last year for WHNO, but and you somewhat downplay your role right now because the systems were already in and the like. But leadership has a voice and leadership has a sound, and it's just as important for you to be a leader for your coaching staff as it is for your players. Won't you talk about how you had to develop that? Because I can assure you that everybody had their eyes on you to see if you were a better coach than you were when you left.
Well, I tell you what, I think I do less coaching now, and I inherited a great staff. These guys, you know, I get a great opportunity every day to really walk around for 2 hours and watch some great coaching going on. Every one of these guys is capable. They do a fantastic job. So I looked at it from the standpoint of, yeah, I want to maybe control some tempo and you know, the way we practice, the way we lead up to our preparation. But I'm certainly not going to get involved in the minutia of what's going on with these guys, because they already have the kids' attention. The system works. We've had some great players coming back that they understand real well. So I felt like it was my job to really kind of go in and not screw it up, really kind of just put a little bit of my flavor on it to begin with, or so to speak. Let these guys do their jobs and just make sure our boys are ready to play every week. And you know, like I said, I inherited a great program, very grateful for that. The kids bought into my style of practicing really quickly, and I think that's been a big key to our success. And our coaches bought into that as well. But really, they just do a fantastic job day in and day out. I don't have to get too involved in anything with regard to that.
You were a color analyst for the last few years and stuff, and it gives you a different perspective. And in some ways, Mark, color analyst, I know it's a lot like coaching. You're very close to it. You're watching things and you're listening, and it's a lot of similarities.
You know, the funny thing about it is I got on the huddle accounts for a couple of different teams when I was doing the TV and radio stuff. And so I was watching a lot of film still, and I enjoy doing that a lot. My wife swears that it was just an opportunity for me to get in and watch some film, because I'd stay up late watching film over and over and over again. But I stayed in touch with the game that way. And of course, I'm friends with a lot of the coaches who are out there and had maybe a little bit more access than some other guys would. And you know, it was a great opportunity to just sit up in the booth and really talk about a football game, and that's really what I did. The play-by-play stuff, I don't think I could ever do that. I think the guys that do it are special. Some of the guys that I worked with, great professionals at it, and just really knew that part of the business. But being the color analyst, being prepared, you know, using the film as a way to prepare and getting out there and just really talking about a football game for 2 hours, that was fantastic. It was a great opportunity for me.
Yeah, and that's something I'm really enjoying right now too, that we actually get to study the game of football. Yes, yeah. And we don't get that knot in our stomach on game night, because on game day, in my idea, it was just, let's get to the national anthem, please. Exactly. So we can
I like to get 1 second past the national anthem, because I'm a nervous wreck during that point. But you know, like you said, it's all day long leading up to the ball game, and we've got one this Saturday night. So I'm really going to sit at home and drive some people crazy, probably 7 or 8 hours during the day on Saturday before we get going. But yeah, that was one of the benefits of, you know, not having to be nervous about it, you know.
That's right, but the preparation is still there. And you started to mention the game Saturday that you have in Rummel, that we're going to be simulcasting on sportsnola.com and WGSO 990 AM. So that's going to be an adventure for us as well. When Renee said you were undefeated, he meant in the Catholic League. Well, it looks like you and Brother Martin and Rummel have separated yourself a little bit, even though the other 3 schools have improved dramatically and are dangerous every week, not saying anything differently there. Talk about your preparation so far for Rummel and how important this week is.
It's been really good. It's identical to last week, and next week will be identical as well. They're a really good football team. The meat of our schedule comes this week, Brother Martin next week, and then St. Augustine the following week. So the next 3 are really tough. But I think the way we prepare and kind of take the approach that the opponent doesn't matter. The opponent is faceless. Our guys have bought into that, and they really believe in it. I believe in it also. I think when you start looking ahead, you're looking for some trouble. You're going to end up on the wrong end of it. But you know, with regard to Rummel themselves, I mean, this I think is a better Rummel team than last year. They're deep everywhere. Their linemen are explosive on both sides of the ball. The quarterback's a very good player. They don't make mistakes. That's the thing about it too, is if you're going to hang around and wait for them to make a mistake, you're going to be waiting a long time. And we can't do that. We need to go out and play our type of football game, and if they do happen to make a mistake, we need to take advantage of that, because it's not going to happen very often. But I like the way we've been preparing. I'm really excited about the team I'm going to put on the field. So we'll play it and see what happens.
Well, Mark, I want to thank you once again for being here today. Welcome back to the coaching profession. Jesuit was very fortunate to get Coach SONGY. The Saints went through something similar 2 years ago, and they messed up by not bringing in somebody from the outside to keep things going. We're at NOLA Motorsports Park. We're going to have 2 terrific Jesuit athletes coming up next, 2 more after that. Here, once again, NOLA Motorsports Park in the Event Center. This is Prep Recruiting Insider, your PRI. Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI, here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. I'm your coach, Rick Gailey, and we're here with your Prep Recruiting Insider, Renee Nato, and we're really excited about having two terrific Jesuit athletes here today. First, TREY LaForge, all the way to the outside, the quarterback of the Jesuit Blue Jays, and Foster MOREAU, the tight end. Welcome, gentlemen, to PRI.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
These are two of the better high school athletes in this city. I mean, not only in basketball, football, but in basketball as well. I'm going to start with you, Foster. About 6'4", 245, 240?
6'5", 240.
Okay. I don't want to lose any. I don't want to leave anything off. You've had some schools looking at you. Where are you in the process in visits, and when are you going to decide where you're going? Do you have any schools you're looking at right now?
Well, I have a couple of offers.
Okay.
I have a good number of offers from a lot of Louisiana local schools and a little bit elsewhere, like some in Colorado, and got Air Force and Mississippi States and Central Arkansas. But right now I'm really focusing on Jesuit football. Jesuit football is my main
And TREY, there's no
priority.
doubt in my mind that you're going to play college football. What are you looking for in a school when the time comes for you to visit? What are you looking for a school that, does it have to be a team that, you know, exactly what are you looking for a school to make your decision?
I mean, certainly academics is a huge part of what you got to look for in a college. You know, if you're going to play athletics, certainly, you know, just the whole program and everything, and location is another big thing.
Foster as a tight end. And folks, let me tell you something. This guy can play, okay? I think right now he's been under-offered. How old are you, Foster?
I'm 17.
Okay, and TREY, how old are you?
I just turned 18.
Okay, guess what? They got a lot of growing to do, because that's what I've also found out through the years in coaching and recruiting. These are not finished products, as good as they are. You've made some spectacular catches, Foster, over a period of time, and I think that's one of your strengths. Tell me why you do that so well in catching the football, but also give me your assets that if I'm a recruiting coach, I'm going to want to have you on my team.
Well, with the catches, I couldn't really tell you. I just kind of focus, key in on the ball, and just put my hands around it, hopefully looking to pull it in. And some more good assets, I would say, are I have a lot of size that I could put on, and a lot of weight. I block well, and I have good vision.
And that's why age is important, because there's a lot of physical development ahead. You've gotten to see a couple of great catches that he made here. You saved TREY a couple of times, especially against St. Paul's. TREY, talk about the assets that you have as a quarterback that you're continuing to develop and that you're going to develop in the future. Tell us why you're going to be a college quarterback.
Yes, sir. I think just the biggest thing from the difference from last year going into this year is just experience and getting to play in different games. And you know, when you surround yourself by good players such as Foster, it just makes my job that much easier. And I really think just over the past year, I've you know, grown as a quarterback, and you know, just learned so much from the different coaches and you know, former players that teach me different things.
TREY, natural comparisons, I know you've heard a million times, to you and Tanner Lee. You were a younger player when Tanner was leaving. And you had a great game against Central in Baton Rouge, a 4-touchdown performance. Both of you guys play basketball, and I'm going to ask you first, TREY, how does basketball help you? You're a high, middle range, double-digit average game. How does basketball help you as a football player?
You know, I think the biggest thing is just how to be a competitor. You know, also like the speed of the game. You know, it translates into football, and you know, just different pressure situations. You know, getting into basketball games, you're going to be put under pressure a lot. You have to make a shot here and there, and I think that just relates to football very well.
And the fact that you're a three-point shooter for Chris Jennings, so you're in a game sometimes when they need some points. Foster, you're a rebounder. You also average doubles in rebounding and points. How does basketball help you? Because obviously you use your body very, very well as a tight end.
What most people don't know is that basketball is a really physical game, and just to be on the block and going up for rebounds, using my vertical and boxing people out, it's one of the best parts for me of the game. I like being on defense, you know.
And you're about a 33 vertical, 33-inch vertical?
33.
Okay, you get it pretty high. Your timing is very good.
Thank you.
And looking at basketball real quick before I get to the real questions, Trey, are you as good a passer in basketball as you are in football? Or does he pass the ball at all? I should be asking this of Foster. Does he pass the ball any in basketball? The truth is coming out. All of us have teams or players that we follow in our younger years that we look up to. Sometimes model our games after, sometimes not. Let's go with you first, Trey. Did you have a team or a player that you really looked up to as a younger person?
You know, I've always, for basketball or football?
Football.
Football. I mean, just growing up in New Orleans, of course you got to like the Saints and everything. And, you know, Drew Brees is somebody that I think I've always looked up to. And, you know, he knows the game very well. And, you know, just.
And his preparation. I mean, he's got some of the best preparation routines that I've ever seen. I mean, it's remarkable that every single rep that he gets in practice, he goes through the physical repetition of every one of his reads. Foster, a team or a player, or a team and a player?
Well, growing up, I really wasn't always a tight end. I was always I was slimmer and I was a little bit quicker. So I was always looking at running backs and wide receivers. I always liked Randy Moss from the Patriots back when Brady broke that touchdown record. And I didn't really have any. I liked Jeremy Shockey back when he played for us. I thought he was big and physical.
A couple of good, interesting attitude guys that you would happen to pick. Wow, that's pretty good there. There may be a story behind the story here, folks. Trey, Foster, thank you for being here today, here with Prep Recruiting Insider at NOLA Motorsports Park. Take a good look at them. Folks, they will be highly recruited before this is over because, hey, recruiting coaches, I'm going to let you know, they can help you keep your job. Get over to Bank Street and recruit these two fine young men. We will be right back after this break. NOLA Motorsports Park, the site of the Indy Grand Prix of Louisiana in April. Come out here and see the karting, see the main track, see the speed shop. What a great facility they have here for your pleasure and enjoyment. We will be right back after this timeout on PRI. Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider here at NOLA Motorsports Park, PRI, and I'm the coach of PRI, Rick Gailey, here with the legendary Renee Nato, our Prep Recruiting Insider. Some people used to say a legend in your spare time because he works so hard at what he does, but what a great honor it is to work with you, Renee. It really is. I'm having a blast. And we're here with two terrific Jesuit athletes, JAKIRAI Wiley, all the way to your left, and KALIJA Lipscomb. JAKIRAI is a cornerback and KALIJA is a wide receiver, and they're getting ready to play the Rummel Raiders this week. Welcome, gentlemen, to PRI.
Thank you for having us.
And I want to say, you know, I autograph some things, Rick, but I have to have 3 forms of identification when I do. Sounds something. KALIJA, I'm going to start with you. First of all, as a wide receiver, you're getting some letters, some notification. What schools have contacted you, and where are you in the process? When are you going to start maybe looking at, seriously thinking about making some visits and look-sees? Which schools first?
Tulane. I've been contacted from Tulane, Missouri. Received some letters from Nebraska, Utah. And I plan on making trips and visiting colleges this summer after the season's all over, going into the spring.
Okay, and JAKIRAI, same thing. What schools have contacted you, and where are you in the process?
Most of the same schools: UL, Missouri, Utah, Stanford, and Jackson State also.
And when will you start making a closer look-see at what you looks like?
Hopefully this summer. I'll take some trips to those schools.
Okay.
Now, you two probably work against each other every day. JAKIRAI, when you are covering KALIJA, can he catch the ball against you? Can he ever beat you?
I like to think not, but I'll say he gets some of them. I can't hold him too hard.
Oh, when you're concentrating on your technique. Now, can he cover you?
I'm gonna come right out and say no. I'm gonna say no. He's an awesome player. I don't see him covering me. I can't sit here and say yes.
I would be disappointed if y'all answered any other way, because as good as y'all have gotten off to this year, 6-1 overall, undefeated, 2-0 in district play. Tell me first, JAKIRAI, What are you working on this week to prepare for the Raiders?
Our coaches are setting us up for the game with the coverages and things like that. I'll study a lot of film each night to make sure I know the wide receivers, their techniques and stuff like that, and that's about it.
And KALIJA, what are you working on this week? In particular, I'm not talking about scheme-wise so much, but as far as your technique, because every day you have an opportunity to improve your technique. Tell me this week what you're really working on in your technique.
We're working on a lot of blocking schemes. We've been really good in the run game, so we're trying to get back to that. We're working on a lot of blocking, running inside routes, learning get deeper in cuts and whatnot, pushing the routes farther, trying to develop plays more so that Trey can have opportunity to throw them. And that's basically it. We see Rummel has a lot of nice DBs. Number one, Christian Fulton's a heck of a player. We're just trying to develop the game along with the run game so that we can we have multiple facets of getting the ball down the field.
KALIJA, you're a prime-time, big-time receiver. You had 4 touchdowns against Central. Wade Kaiser was there last year, and this year it's Mark SONGY. A lot of good results this year. Why is this year maybe special? And how are things maybe a little different from Wade Kaiser, from Coach Kaiser to Coach SONGY?
I'd say this year is special because we just put in a lot of work during the off season, during the summer. We put a lot of time into developing routes, time in getting the right synchronization between all the patterns and whatnot, and a lot of weight room time, a lot of working out. And I mean, Coach SONGY and Coach Kaiser, I mean, they're different people, they're different individuals, of course, but I feel like they both put a lot of emphasis on work during practice and effort, continuous effort, and a laser-like focus on preparation and whatnot. But they definitely have different personalities. Coach SONGY is more laid back, I'd have to say. Coach Kaiser was always in there. Coach SONGY just kind of let things develop. And that's just their 2 different ways of coaching, but they both have a very strong feel for having an everyday focus and effort.
JAKIRAI, you played some wide receiver before moving to cornerback first. How did that help you in the transition from wide receiver to cornerback? And also the fact that most of the assistant coaches came back from last year's team. How did it help you in the transition to this year?
By being a wide receiver before a cornerback, I can see what a wide receiver want to do and how he sets me up, and I can counter that with my technique, and it'll help me a little better by knowing that if he's pushing me vertical, he's probably doing a comeback on the 3rd down situation. So that helps me a lot by knowing what he'll do.
And what about the coaches?
And the coaches, Coach SONGY is more laid back. He's more of a player guy, and
a lot of assistants came returned. Did that help you a little bit in transition, didn't it?
Yeah, Coach Dan came back, and that helped me because I don't want to have a total different coaching staff. I like to have the same coaching staff because the techniques, he knows my techniques, and we work as a team. And
we're coming down the stretch in the last minute. Tell me, what side of the ball does Coach SONGY spend most of his time at in practice? Go, JAKIRAI.
Special teams.
Special teams all day. Special teams, 100%, no doubt.
Excellent. That's an important part of the game, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And JAKIRAI is part of that operation as both a punt and kick returner. And that very well could be the difference this week, as it so often is, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Well, gentlemen, we appreciate you being here today on Prep Recruiting Insider. Great representatives of Jesuit High School. Give them your best look now. That's right there. Make sure that they get a good look at your face because you're going to be seeing a lot more of them into the future. Thank you so much for being here. This is Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI, here at NOLA Motorsports Park. We're in the event center. They're getting ready to get out to the kart track. Right when we're finished here, we'll be right back after this break on PRI. We're at NOLA Motorsports Park here in Avondale, Louisiana. You have reached the destination of PRI, your Prep Recruiting Insider. Here with the Prep Recruiting Insider, Renee Nato. I'm the coach of PRI, Rick Gailey. And we are so very fortunate for the Lamarck Legends of the Game segment to have a terrific Jesuit legend of the game, even though this might be the first time in his young life he's being called a legend, Todd Galemi. We are so fortunate to have the Lamarck Motor Company sponsor the Legends of the Game. Go to the big store on Williams Boulevard and see one of the Lamarck brothers to take care of your special automotive need. And welcome once again to Todd Galemi, legend of the game from Jesuit High School and later on Villanova Wildcat.
That's right.
Welcome, Todd, to PRI.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Todd, 1993, I guess? You had over 1,600 yards. You were Metro, All-Metro with Rondell Mealy, 32 scores. What do you remember about those days? You guys had a lot of success. You carried the ball a lot, but Coach SONGY was on the sidelines.
He was.
What do you remember about those days?
Oh, it was great. I mean, I think, probably similar to most high school experiences, just the guys, the network, the bond that you guys create, with each other, and just the opportunity to compete at a high level, against great talent, great athletes. It was just a great experience, and days that we talk about still today. So.
And here in your, since we're on recruiting, it's the essence of our show, you had some interesting decisions to make after your senior year because you were offered full scholarships to some schools, partial scholarships to other schools, and opportunities to walk on at other schools, and you chose Villanova. Why don't you go, if you would, take a second to kind of reflect back and that decision-making process that you had to go through.
Sure, yeah. Naturally, I think you go through the process and you start getting the recruitment and you start receiving all the letters, even handwritten notes from coaches, and you start to think that, all right, well, my level might be up here when the reality is maybe it's down here. And, so the opportunities were on the table. But my main goal was always, I pretty much knew I wasn't going to be playing in the NFL, right? So my main goal was to use football as a ticket to get to a great school, get a great education, at a university that I probably wouldn't even have gotten into. So, the recruiting process kind of ended where, like you said, there was some smaller schools that had offered scholarships, and I didn't want to walk on at LSU. I just planned on, okay, I'm just going to go to LSU and just be a student. And Villanova called late. It was after the signing date. It was in February, and I think they actually had contacts in the Tulane system and got my name through Tulane. But Villanova came calling. I took a visit and really liked the campus, and there was a couple guys from Jesuit that didn't play football, but they went to Villanova, and I knew it was a great school, had a great academic reputation, so that was the most important thing to me, and so the opportunity to take advantage of it was there, and I took it. So
your success with the Blue Jays kind of carried over because you were kind of under the gun a little bit in your first start, 137 yards against Delaware, and then not long after that, 142 yards against Buffalo, and they decided to give you a full ride. How was that challenge early on, and you came through?
It was, well, I had a year to do it, essentially. Villanova is, an expensive school. And my family, because they offered me a partial scholarship, it wasn't a full scholarship, so my family had to come up with a good bit of money to send me there, and I essentially had 1 year to make it happen. And I was fortunate enough to get in the Boston University game. Late in the game, I was 4th or 5th string at the time. Starting running back got hurt. The next guys were fumbling, and it was late in the game. We were losing, and they decided to put me in. They didn't want to burn the red shirt of another freshman, some superstar from California at the time, and they gave me a chance. And from then, that's when he took me in the next week, and it was the week of the Delaware game, and he brought me in. It was my running back coach, who was, Marshall Hall was a great coach. He was more of a Mike Ditka type coach, and he just liked my style of running, more of a power back. And he brought me in and sat me down and said, hey, I don't want my starting running back to be worried about a scholarship. So starting second semester, you're going to have you're going to have a full scholarship. So it was a great, great feeling.
And as we mentioned, Villanova is in Philadelphia. On the main line.
It is.
They're the Wildcats, and you talked about Delaware, your first start, a program that I'm extraordinarily familiar with. I know Coach Raymond and the Delaware staff. That's where I'd gotten my offensive and football education, really, was with the University of Delaware staff. Was it at Delaware?
It was at Delaware.
At Delaware in the Yankee Conference.
Yep.
Great league in Division I AA. Delaware probably had some of the best atmosphere of any school up in that area, I would think.
It was. When, you know, growing up here and going to the LSU tailgates, that's the kind of scene that you would expect in college. And in the Northeast, it's, you know, in the 1AA league, it wasn't, you know, we didn't have the same kind of attention. So driving up to Delaware game, you know, they had 35,000, 40,000 people that would go to those games, and it was just a real lively atmosphere. And you know, we as the players just loved going there. We loved playing there. And so, you know, I mean, I thought we played against some, you know, at least in front of some big crowds here in New Orleans at Tag Gormley. But you know, getting there, I remember the first, it was a flare route right out the gate, first play of the game, right through my hands. And from then on, you know, I got comfortable. But it was a great atmosphere and just a memory that I'll have forever. Right. So
you had some NFL feeling in that conference as well. Darren Sharper played William and Mary. Jim Tressel coached at Villanova, and you came from a running back to a fullback and blocked for a guy who would be in the NFL, Brian Westbrook.
Right.
How was that experience? Because he went on to a pretty good career with the Eagles.
Yeah, he did. He was a phenomenal athlete. He had torn his ACL senior year, so I think he kind of slipped through the cracks. But yeah, Brian, you know, that was when I shifted from tailback to fullback, and I was completely okay with that because he was just an exceptional athlete with so many gifts and talents. You know, he won the Walter Payton Award, which is kind of like the Heisman of 1AA. So, you know, it was just a pleasure, you know, being able to play with him, block for him, and you know, it was just a good experience.
And I'm just so intrigued by your decision that you made, because one of the things from the very beginning that I've brought up is that first and foremost in the recruiting process, you need to go to the school you want to go to.
Absolutely.
Whether, you know, and you find a way to get it done. And for the young players now, even since the time you were in school, there's more ways to get college paid for than ever before in history. But go to the school you need to go to. Absolutely.
I mean, there's, you know, I think so many young guys, you know, get caught up with the idea that, no, I'm only going to a big school. You know, and they sell themselves short to some opportunities that, you know, are going to open their eyes to such a new world. I mean, my network of friends now are from all over the country, California. I mean, I live with all these guys, Oklahoma, Kentucky, New Jersey. You know, they're all, you know, multimillionaires in Wall Street. And, you know, I mean, the network that you create is, you know, is profound. And so, you know, I would have never had that type of group, and I wouldn't have had that kind of experience had I not, you know, just taken the opportunity to go take a look at Villanova and see what this campus, this great Catholic university is all about. So.
In the last 30 seconds, real quick, what are you doing now, Todd?
I'm working for a medical device company in Stryker. You know, so I'm still in surgery and around at least the orthopedics and the sports side. So.
Well, we appreciate you being here today, not just as a legend. Yes, he's awfully young for a legend, but we aged them fast here on PRI. Thank you for being here as a representative, not only of Jesuit High School, but of the Villanova Wildcats. Once again, we are here at NOLA Motorsports Park. We will be back right after this short break on PRI. Promotional consideration for Prep Recruiting Insider is provided by Moe's Pizza, the best pizza on the West Bank. Stop by before or after the game at Moe's, 1112 Avenue H in West Wego. Check out their full menu online at moespizzanola.com and tell them you heard about it on PRI, and their muffalata and Italian salad is also terrific. The Indy Grand Prix of Louisiana will take place April 10th through 12th, 2015 at NOLA Motorsports Park here in Avondale, Louisiana. A 3-day racing festival showcasing the culture, music, and food of Louisiana. The Indy Grand Prix of Louisiana is part of the 2015 Verizon IndyCar Series. Call 504-302-4875 or visit their website at gpofnola.com.
We wanted to be in New Orleans because it's a great city. Our sponsors and our fans will want to be here take in a great race and have a lot of fun. And New Orleans certainly has a reputation for putting on great events.
That's the key. This is something new and different for Louisiana. We know about Super Bowls and Final Fours and All-Star games, but to introduce IndyCar competition to Louisiana at a facility like this is not only is it unprecedented, but it's outstanding.
It's hard to be real specific about Indy racing, this, that, and that. It's been in the back of my mind, though, for 3 years. And it's very challenging to do, so you want to be careful with expectations. But you know, you have a dream, you have a vision, you go with it. You don't worry about odds, you just do it. And here we are, we're doing it.
We have some great cities that host IndyCar racing, so St. Petersburg, Florida in spring break is a magnet for kids. Young people love that race. Then we go to Long Beach, California, right around the marina. It's shimmering, great venue. These are all places that our sponsors and our fans want to be in, and New Orleans fits right in the middle of that group.
The track as designed was not a hardcore racing track. It was designed to be a general purpose track. So we looked at a couple of areas where, with modifications, we believe we'll have the most competitive track in the whole country. You know, we have 4 clear passing zones on every lap. There are 4 opportunities for one car to pass another. And these Indy guys are very talented, very aggressive. They're in virtually identical cars. And there's going to be a lot of passing, a lot of action. We're excited about that.
And for the investment that the state has made, we've got a 3-year commitment that it'll be here, and I guarantee it'll be here long beyond that. I would expect New Orleans to be a second only to Indianapolis as a destination for IndyCar in America. The facilities here are great, and when they get a dose of New Orleans hospitality and the food and music and the ambiance of Jefferson Parish and Orleans Parish, they're going to be here to stay. This is a great day for the state of Louisiana and for tourism. It translates into jobs, which is what tourism is all about, and into taxes are going to be paid by people who are going to descend on NOLA Motorsports and leave behind a lot of tax revenue for the state of Louisiana.
There'll be a lot of planning, selling tickets, getting sponsorships, designing the temporary facilities. We'll have 30,000, 40,000 people here Sunday, race day. We'll have 4 days of activities. It'll be temporary grandstands, high-end, like at a fancy golf tournament. So the grounds are being designed right now as we speak and work on it.
Thursdays on WHNO Sports, it's the John Forcade Show, presented by Veterans Ford. The former Shaw, Ole Miss, and Saints quarterback is joined by Mike Detillier. They'll look ahead to the football weekend each Thursday night at 6 here on WHNO TV 20. The first NBC Bank Prep Showcase will be the John Ehret Patriots and the Helen Cox Cougars, with a live stream at 7 p.m. Friday night on sportsnola.com and a tape-delayed broadcast on WHNO TV 20 at 12 noon on Saturday. Catch the game live with Ken Berthelot, Wade Kaiser, and Brandon Rizzuto. That's Saturday at noon on WHNO TV 20 and on sportsnola.com. And speaking of sportsnola.com, we will have a simulcast. Catch sportsnola.com prep football presented by First NBC Bank on Saturday as the Jesuit Blue Jays take on the Rummel Raiders. Game time is 7 o'clock. Watch it live at sportsnola.com. Ken Trahan, Easton Roth, and I will be calling the game as part of the simulcast with WGSO 990 AM. 7 o'clock on Saturday. And welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider. I'm Rick Gaylor, the coach of PRI here at NOLA Motorsports Park with Renee Nadeau, our Prep Recruiting Insider. And Renee, we really did have an extra special show today.
Yes, we did. And I had a chance to talk to Mark SONGY and some outstanding players he has, all being recruited, a couple of juniors, a couple of seniors. And Todd Glemme had a chance to look back and reflect back on a really, really good career, both in high school and college. And we have a good show coming up. a special show coming up next week. Nelson Stewart and the Newman Greenies will be on with some of his players, Jay Tyler and Kendall Bussey and some other players. And also we have Miles Clement, who was a great player, All-American player at Newman and went on to play at Tulane and now an attorney. So you don't want to miss any show. We've got some great shows lined up for the next few weeks. In fact, all the way into signing day.
And what you're finding out by watching Prep Recruiting Insider is that there's more than one way to establish yourself and move yourself forward. It can be as a scholarship athlete, it can be as a partial scholarship athlete, anywhere in the country, or as a walk-on. We've had successes in each one of those phases as part of our guest list here on PRI. So you're getting the very best in content, the very best teams, very best coaches, very best players, and the very best information on what you can do in your particular situation to maximize your particular potential. So Renee, looking forward to this week too.
And you know, and today we had Todd Glummie on. We had Michael Stonebreaker on last week, but the week before that, Kevin Stelz is a guy who carved his own path as a walk-on, and Todd Glummie did it the hard way, went without a full scholarship and earned one. So you're right, Rick. There's a lot of ways to skin a cat, and don't lose sight of your dream and how far you can go if you really want to.
And the main thing is trust your coach. This is Rick Gailey, Prep Recruiting Insider, along with Renee Nato, NOLA Motorsports Park here in Avondale. We will see you at the game on PRI.